Well, hey everybody, I'm Jack, and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Hump day, middle of the week, on the downslide to the weekend. I reserved my Airbnb. I'm going down. This will be my last little weekend trip down to Pensacola. As tick tock, I fly back to Costa Rica 2 weeks from today. I can't wait. But a lot to get done between now and then. I want to talk about a raw food diet and cooked food, what I've learned. I do videos every day, so if you haven't already done it, please hit that subscribe button now so you can come back and watch more of my videos, and then click on the little bell and check send notifications so YouTube will not unsubscribe you from the channel. I had a little bit of an incident yesterday. I'm happy to be shooting this with my iPhone today. I lost my phone. I've never lost my phone before. I'm pretty good with my stuff. I keep it in my hands. I know what's going on. And had an errand I was running, and it was one of those things. I found it. It got found, but I went to a bank. I was putting some stuff in a safe deposit box for my mom, and it was one of those situations where I lost something, and I retraced my steps, and there's literally no way I could have lost this phone because it was just in these two places. Well, I was at one of the banks, got a call this morning, and they said they had found it. Of course, I had already ordered another phone, and I didn't do it just because of that. I was going to order anyway. It just made me go ahead and do it. So anyhow, happy to have the phone back working. As I'm coming to the conclusion of this 8-month period, close to 9 months by the time I fly back to Costa Rica, just kind of reflecting on the time up here, doing things differently, and how it's gone. To see if things, were like I thought they were going to be. And to a large extent, I've learned some things. For a little background on my story, up until about 8 months ago, I had done this lifestyle in the tropics. I was in Costa Rica when I started following a raw food diet. So that's the only place I knew how to do it. I've only done, I've heard all these stories in the past. I've seen these things, heard them talked about, but I've never had to deal with them. Like not having fruit around, well, that's just, I can't even process that. How does one live without having abundant fruit around all the time? Or, just, it's going to be cold there. How are you going to do this during the winter? Blah, blah, blah. So these are all like first for me on my vegan journey, on my raw journey. So, it's been kind of interesting, and a lot of it is just kind of reinforced things that I thought before. In the last 9 months or 8 to 9 months that I've been up here, I've eaten a fair amount more cooked food than I do when I'm down in Costa Rica, especially when I'm down at the beach where I'm about to go. Now, when I was in the mountains, I ate a little bit of cooked food there, but still staying mostly raw here. Some of the things I've learned. What have I learned on this lifestyle? Okay, first of all, I've learned that just like I thought, eating a bite of cooked food, okay, maybe I'm sure there's that one exception that is a true exception out there, but most people are just kind of being dramatic, exaggerating a little bit when they make all this big hoopla about, oh my God, I ate one bite of cooked food and it just, my skin broke out and this and this and this and this happened. Stop being so dramatic. It's not that big of a deal. Now, as I say that, there's certain things I've found. There are certain things cooked that I can eat. And I can eat it all. I mean, I can pretty much bounce back, but there's certain things that don't tend to bring me down or drag my energy down as much as other. The higher water content it is, I find when I have greens, like when I have collard greens or with any cooked food that I'm having, or sometimes I'll have cabbage, sometimes I'll have a salad with it. But when I'm having greens and when I'm having something like that, I don't know, that just tends to help the digestion a little bit. Neither here nor there, but I found out I do a lot better with sweet potatoes than I do with other kind of potatoes. And when I say I do a lot better, that's very relative. I just mean like, they digest. When I eat sweet potatoes, the feeling I have is much closer to being raw than the feeling I have when I eat regular, say, russet potatoes or baking potatoes or other kind of more dense potatoes. Same thing with the yuca a little bit. It's just a denser starch. With the, like I say, with the sweet potatoes, they don't pull me down as much, but none of it crashes me. In other words, like I haven't eaten anything yet that I'm like, oh my God, this is a disaster. I shouldn't have done this. What have I dabbled in? I've even had, this is back about 3 months ago on a couple of the weekend trips to Pensacola. I even had a couple of pizzas. I went to Mellow Mushroom and had a vegan pizza there because that was really, like I say, I just wanted to see a vegan pizza. I was determined I was going to have a vegan pizza while I was up here. The pizza, I'm not saying I wouldn't ever go back again. The pizza was just a little heavy, and that bread, even though I'll have the occasional vegan sandwich, it was an interesting experiment. Not saying I wouldn't necessarily do it again, but pizza, that's very once in a while type thing. Now, let me say, just so I'm not giving a mixed message here, although I've eaten cooked food, although I'm totally open and sharing about cooked food, I don't judge anybody for eating cooked food. It's mainly practical because I know most people are not going to go fully raw. The average person is never in their life going to go fully raw. Even the vast majority that are real serious committed to this lifestyle are probably going to be 75–80% at best. So it's more of a reality thing. I know I can reach more people, resonate with more people if I'm not banging and preaching this raw is law. But I absolutely, and I think I've stated this, it's probably like a broken record, I absolutely, without a doubt, feel my best when I am eating fully raw. There's no question about that. I'm very observant. I'm not biased because I'm open to eating the cooked food. But if I'm just being very, if I'm just giving my straight shot, yes, I feel my absolute best. I don't feel as good when I'm eating cooked as when I'm eating fully raw. Another thing I figured out, even in a situation like this, and I don't eat cooked every day, I don't know how often people want to say, well, how often do you do it? I don't sit around and keep records. I don't really know what I do on a regular basis. I just kind of do stuff. So maybe I eat cooked a couple of times a week, something like that. Maybe I'll go for weeks at a time without eating any. It just varies. But I can tell you one thing, even if I were to move back to the States or move to some climate that wasn't in the tropics, which I'm going back to, is that I know without a doubt that I could never do this lifestyle like raw till 4 or something, eating cooked every day. No. That's just, I would have zero interest in that. I'm thinking like no matter where I wouldn't end up in some part of the world where I couldn't get a certain amount of fruit and things that I need. I mean, I can't imagine any circumstance that would take me at this stage in my life to a place where I couldn't, basically this is as bad as I want it to get right here. And this hasn't been that bad. But yeah. But even if I were in certain circumstances and cooked food was going to become a regular reality in my life, never every day, never. And that's just for me. Once again, I'm not judging anybody. If you do raw till 4 and you're doing great, God bless you. Keep on going. More power to you. But just for me personally, yeah, a day or two. Even sometimes when I go down to Pensacola and spend the night, and I'll eat at my restaurant on Saturday, and then I might eat cooked food. I'll eat cooked food on Saturday and Sunday. By the time I get home Sunday night, all I want is some ice cream to kind of shake it off, and then I don't even remotely think about want cooked food for days and days and days. So I don't know. I was trying to think like what different thing, how many things can you share? How much can you share? How much can you pull out of this experience? I can't say how many days a week, but yeah, I could never really see living less than maybe even 4 days a week. 3 days a week eating cooked would be about the tops, but always the raw makes me feel better. And something else too, and this just might be something to think about, and it could just be a habit of mine, but I just think there's a good progression. Like, even if I'm eating cooked, well, except for if I'm traveling, because that's different, you're a little bit out of your normal routine. Cooked when I'm here at home is always at night. Like, I still eat raw throughout the day. Even when I do eat cooked, most of the day is raw. And I would totally recommend that. If you're going to do it, eat the fruit, eat the maybe some greens during the day, your smoothies during the day, and eat that cooked at night. I don't know why, but that just tends to work for me. Well, I don't know. I'm kind of saying that works for me, but I'm not really a regular cooked food eater. But I would stick to that. And I would definitely stick to, even if you're going to eat cooked food, make it one meal. Make it one meal. That's another thing I was going to say. I definitely, even on the days where I'll eat some cooked food, the other two meals are generally raw. So I guess what I'm getting at here, the cooked, not as deadly, not as toxic, not going to drop you dead, not going to kill you, but it's definitely not the best choice, not in my opinion. Now then again, what I've said this before, I'm not a regular cooked food eater, so maybe if I were in a different circumstance and was so inclined, I might be able to learn how to eat cooked food a little bit better. In other words, like, since I don't eat it very often, a lot of times I'll just eat like all potatoes. You know, maybe if I was doing it on a more frequent basis, I would have more of a flow of eating it, and maybe it would treat me a little bit better because I ate it in a different way. You know, maybe mixing more raw with the cooked, but that's neither here nor there. I'm about to go home. And yeah, I know without a doubt, I function better on a raw food diet, but I'm never going to freak out. I'm never going to freak out eating vegan food. I'm never even going to freak out eating less clean vegan food. There's just, I guess I'll finish off with this. There's all the time, there's on a regular basis, and then there's once in a while. There's certain things like, okay, the raw will sustain me all the time. There's certain kind of cooked food that I have, like in Pensacola. If I lived in Pensacola, I would not be going to that restaurant regularly. I'd probably be going once every week or two as it is. So there's stuff like that, okay, it's still vegan. It's not going to kill you, so I eat it. I'll eat it. Then you have something like your sweet potatoes, which doesn't pull you down all that much. And that's something that I don't have a problem like slipping into my diet a little bit more often. In fact, I had some last night for dinner. I had a big old pot of collard greens and some sweet potatoes. So, the raw food anytime, some of the clean cooked food like that, I've been like, okay, I'll justify eating that, on occasion. And then there's the other stuff, but nothing's really off limits, as long as except for animal products. But anyhow, now I'm just starting to ramble. That's just my 2 cents worth. I try to really pay attention. I try to experiment with this so I can offer something back, and I try to not do it biased, because as you guys know, I don't harp on raw is law, and I don't hate raw. So I'm not like one of those raw above all, and I'm not a hater. So I just try to give you kind of an undramatic, unemotional feedback on different aspects of this lifestyle. But anyhow, yeah, it's always going to be the raw. Always going to feel best on the raw. And if you don't get that, you just don't get that because you haven't felt it yet. Once you feel it, once you get that aha moment on the raw thing, then you'll be like, okay, now I understand. Anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this one today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.